Hello everyone, and thank you for joining us for this quick tutorial of creating a night guard with 3Shape. It's a great opportunity, and specifically coupled with Zirlux resins, and specifically the night guard. It's a very easy way to create a revenue stream and an ROI that is fairly an easy lift, because as I'll show you in 5 minutes of the design, you can design there's different options, but certainly you can design a simple night guard in a 5 to 10 minutes, and then allow the printing or milling, depending on which way you're manufacturing, but the processes are still nevertheless the same. So with that said, we're going to get started, and you can choose, or the dentist will choose, whether it's the upper or the lower arch that's going to get the splint on. But for our purposes, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the maxillary. So I select one, then I press the shift key to select all of them. I'm going to go ahead and select the appliance design, as you see here, and then we'll be able to progress forward from there. I have selected already the type of, let me just import. All right, so we were able to go ahead and import our models, as you see here, and now we went ahead and we scanned this. I'm going to open up the design software in order to quickly and easily scan it, as you can see. Now you can always select whether it's the upper or the lower member that's going to be splinted. Now splint, we're going to be doing a simple night guard, if you will, but obviously, and I'll show you how you can always add some increase into the posterior, as well as any kind of anterior guidance or cuspid guidance or anything to that effect. So one of the first things you want to do is you want to identify at least 3 spots in order to align it. And what I like to do is always kind of like look for the high spots and indicate in those as well. So where the midline is, and then finally, we're going to find another high spot, which is right here. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to find where the alignment is appropriate that allows you for a proper, we can always bring in the opposing, as you see here, but what we really are trying to do is that we follow the curve of speed, we follow the curve of Wilson, and this will also help us establish exactly where we want and where we want it. So I'm just looking at and identifying exactly where we want things to really be. So this is a great way to align exactly where you want, and then we can go ahead and proceed on to the next. Once we proceed on to the next, the software does a really great job with actually showing you what the process is. We can go ahead and manipulate the articulator, which is very wise, especially when you're doing a splint of like what we're doing. And again, depending on what it is that you're trying to accomplish, whether it's the cuspid rise or any kind of group function, you can establish that, and I'll be able to show you. So one of the things that I like to do also with a splint is create a opening of the arch. Now you can do 1 millimeter, so I'll show you exactly what that looks like. And once we've aligned, we're opening 1 millimeter just to allow with the proper guidance and the proper all the way through. So make sure that you're creating that now. You may want to do 2 millimeters, you may want to do less, depending on what it is that you're trying to accomplish. But this is where we're absolutely are going to be able to create that. So I'm going to go ahead and lock the jaw in position. Once you lock the jaw in position, you can certainly create that as well. Let me just lock it. And then we'll go ahead and accept exactly where it is, and we'll proceed forward. So then the next step is now going to be the ability to do the path of insertion. Now, one of the things that I always like to do is certainly you can utilize the auto, but I also like to look at it from the perspective of how it is that the patient is going to be placing it. So one of the things that I like to do is certainly create that from the view, and you can see that it established the path of insertion in this direction, which is where the appliance is going to be applied to. But then that also dictates the amount of undercut, if you will. Now, some undercuts is what we want in a splint or a night guard situation like this, but we don't want too much that is going to hinder the fit, as well as you don't want it to be too heavy where it's going to lock the fit as well. So the next step is going to be now to, once we've identified exactly where the path of insertion is, and I'm going to correct it a little bit because I would like to make it a slightly less of a, so let me just bring that over, so that this way you can see the exact placement of the blockout wax as well. Once we're good with that, we're going to go ahead and we're going to proceed forward, which is going to be next. And now you have the waxing tools, that, if you will. Now, again, just for some of the hotkeys for 3Shape, you can use Shift and the scroll wheel, which will increase or decrease the size of the diameter that you're going to be affecting, as well as Control, which you're going to be increasing or decreasing with the scroll wheel. So if you want the intensity, if you look down here, you can certainly increase by pressing Control button and increasing the scroll wheel, or if you want to increase the diameter, you're pressing the Shift and doing very much the same. So I'm going to increase the diameter to what I like, where it's typically comfortable. I'm going to bring this closer. So what I want to do is I'm going to remove and increase the amount of by which I'm going to remove with. So now it's just a matter of really functioning exactly where you want, so that the undercuts are initiated and gives you the proper retention, but doesn't lock it into place, and you want to make sure that it is comfortable for that patient. So depending on what it is that you want to do and how aggressively, now the fit is where you can absolutely control as you're designing these. So I'm going to show you, a very slight amount of blocking out. Again, you can increase or decrease depending on the amount of retention that you're looking to achieve. But most of this is very minimal as far as how much of an undercut. But you want to engage the undercuts, especially into proximals, but not too much where it's going to be harder for the patient. Again, an older patient, perhaps you want to engage less undercuts, so that if manual dexterity is a challenge for that patient, then it would be easier for them to increase or decrease the amount of retention throughout. But you definitely want to make sure that you have the proper undercuts all the way through, so that it affects the night guard in the best possible manner, so that you still get that proper indication or proper retention, but yet has a passive fit well enough to do so. Now, I use the subtraction. You can certainly also add wax as you need, or wherever you feel that you need it. If it's interproximal, that you don't want to engage any severe kind of undercuts or anything to that effect, you can certainly add that as well. And then see which direction you want to continue on. Again, for us and our purposes, we're going to go ahead and make a simple night guard. So once I've corrected exactly where I want things to be, I'm going to go ahead and proceed on to the next. Now, once you do that, the smoothness, you can start with creating a outline. Now, I always like to go right above the CEJ, or rather the height of contour. So let me start that over, and then we can go ahead and create, and you can actually hold on and click, if you will. You just want to follow the exact path of the shape of the teeth, and you can draw all the way across, as you see here, where we're going to then create a slightly better fit depending on what it is that you're trying to achieve. So if it's not 100% correct, and I'll show you exactly what it is that I mean, you'll be able to then adjust as needed in order to create exactly the outline that you're looking for, so that you have the exact fit that you're looking for as well. And I'll show you what I mean by that as well. So how do you go about doing that is something that is fairly simple, as you see here. And I'm going to go all the way around, making sure that I encompass exactly what I want, and what I don't want, you can leave exactly where it is that you don't want it. So on the lingual, again, depends on what it is that you want to do. Certainly, we're going to go ahead and we're going to create right at the height or the bulge area is where I would want to maintain that same kind of, and again, if something goes a little bit awry, that's okay. We'll be able to fix that rather simply and easily, and I'll show you exactly what I mean by that. In order to create, you want to finish all the way through. So now that we've completed the outline, we can then go back and correct any of the things that we want to correct. So for example, if I want to bring this in and into proximal, I can do so. If I want to bring this down into proximal, again, I can do so very easily, as you can see here. This I'll bring in slightly more, so you have the proper morphology all the way through. I'm going to create a straighter line, if you will, here. And these are all obviously adjustable so that you have the proper orientation and the proper fit all the way through. So please don't worry if there's anything that you want to correct or fix, you can. Also, if there's any further retention that you want, you can certainly do so as well. So it's a very easy way of accomplishing this, but you know, you just want to really observe the exact outline, and also sometimes you want to also communicate with the clinician to see exactly what kind of design they would like. If you know the clinician, you've worked with them for a while, then certainly you can know exactly what their preferences are. Some like it a little bit higher than the super bulge, some like it right at the super bulge, some like it a little bit below, but it's really a matter of preference, just like anything else. As long as you get the proper retention and proper use, then you're good to go. So here we're looking around, making sure that everything is exactly where you want it to be. And as you can see, it's a very easy fix to be able to do so. So I'm just going to look around. Now you can certainly, and I suggest doing so, getting it exactly at the height of contour, if you will, or a little bit even higher. And you'll see what I mean by that. So you can engage into any of the undercuts in order to create the design that you're looking for to achieve. So how do you do that? I mean, certainly with the mouse, as you see here, but you can fine tune it depending on what it is that your ultimate end results and design would look like. Some dentists prefer it a little flatter, some prefer it a little more contoured. You'll get to know what it is that they absolutely want. So for example, something here, I would go ahead and not make it as sharp, which would be a better option. And all the way through, engaging any of the undercuts, making sure that you have a proper orientation, and then obviously to make sure that you have the correct kind of engagement in the retentive areas, so that you have the right outcome all the way through. So with that said, you're going to check just all the way through, check your lines, your finish line, and this is just, again, the outline so that you have all the way through, and this looks fine. So what we're going to do is now, obviously, we can look at the parameters. The split thickness is 2 millimeters, which I do suggest, but depending on the type of material, I do have right now a Formlabs in it, where you're able to create, again, with the Zirlux resins, with the Form 3B, a very quick and easy process. But you know, it's recommended for 2 millimeters. You can certainly change that as well. If it is you want a little more retention or less retention, you can certainly do that. If you are milling, and this is set up right now for 3D printing, but if you are milling the drill diameter, make sure that it has the compensation and the very smallest of the tools. So here you have where now this provides a fairly simple night guard, if you will. And let me show you exactly. So most of the time I would leave this as is, as you can see. Now you do have options with the splint material, especially the hard material, which is great. You can, and I'll show you what I mean, you can identify or raise these, let me show you. So I can identify and raise exactly the materials or the teeth that I want to increase on. So for example, in here, up to 9 millimeters. So you'll see exactly what it is that I'm referring to. And sometimes as far as a splint or a night guard, you want to increase. So what it does is it takes those, the posterior teeth and increases it. And I'll show you what that looks like. So what it did was it just increased the additional step. But now you're having it closer to the occlusion and the anterior is completely open. So certainly you can leave it like that. Again, I would thin these out a little bit more. And then you can do the same here, the same as far as for the raise the antagonist plane, or if you want to raise the ramp. Meaning that if you're doing a bite splint, or if you're doing a kind of a TMJ appliance or any kind of splint like that you want to establish the exact cuspid rise or any kind of group function or anything like that, you can certainly include that as well. You can decrease or increase, you can add attachment and so many other things that you can really have come right through. Now, if you remember, we did the articulation, so we can then guide by design, which I highly suggest doing so. Use the articulator and then guide by design. So now you can actually play it. And now what it does is it removes any of the premature kind of, so I'll show you. So for example, it created that cuspid rise all the way through, and then you can see that it has the occlusion points going through as well. This is where I would leave this be. Again, you can certainly increase the opening, you can certainly add more, you can so the functionality is certainly is something that you can really utilize to really create exactly what you want to the design. So here we have it again in the articulator. You can certainly go ahead and use the wax knife now. So again, we have the opportunity here with the shift and the control to increase or decrease. I oftentimes like to thin out by the margin area, just smoothing it out exactly where it is that I want it to be. And it's just another step by where we're going ahead, and I'll remove the model as you see here. And I like to smooth things out, and perhaps I would use the smoothing tool rather than the negative tool, or the minus tool, I should say. And I just like to, being that I'm printing it, I like to just kind of thin out any of the areas that may be thick or may be problematic. I'd rather do this in the CAD design rather than doing it afterwards where it's done already, and we now have other types of things to deal with. So here we have the ability of doing that as well. And then I'm going to go back into the smoothing area. So we have that all the way through and through, including. Okay, so now we have a little bit of, and all I'm doing is I'm just adding it ever so slightly. So yeah, and then just go around. Again, you can take away any of the articulator or anything like that. So if you want to smooth it out in any different areas, you certainly can as well. But this is your night splint at this point in time. You can then go ahead and adjust, if you will. You can also set the morphing, but I'm going to go ahead and create a production. So again, this is your upper and lower. This is your bite splint. You can, depending on the dentist, you can make this a little bit more retentive, a little less retentive, a little bit thinner, a little bit thicker, depending on the type. And it's a little bit of a learning curve. So certainly communication with the dentist as to what the preference is or what it is that they desire or what they want. You do and can add names. So I'm going to go ahead and, for example, I'll add, let's just say, example. I'm going to go ahead, and now you can include that right on here if you wish. And now you have that sample all the way through, and now it's etched in, if you will. So engrave ID, perfect. And now we can go ahead, and once we do that, then we're good to go. And in essence, that's how the design is completed, because now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you, once it processes it all the way through, that it provides as you can see here, it provides a very nice and really quickly the ability of creating generating cam. So I'm going to generate cam, and then I want to show you the STL, so how to be able to export that. The STL, as you can see here, is going to be your bite splint. So you would take this now, and you may want to thin this out. It's completely up to your design functionality, but this would be the bite splint that you would then go ahead and put it into your either a Sega or your Formlabs. I've set it up as Formlabs, and again, it's a 5-minute kind of design that you can quickly and easily, and the ability of establishing or creating a revenue stream for that has not been possible before is something that is really, really unique and interesting. And in 5 minutes time, you can certainly go ahead and be able to, design a bite splint or a night guard very quickly and very easily, so that you have that access to, and it's a great money making for any kind of laboratories. Hope you enjoyed this training, and I look forward to many more.